Next on the Night Beat, a child attacked by a pit bull.
Plus, will it rain under Easter plans? Your Weather Authority forecast next on Wink News.
Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 10.
New tonight on the Wink News Night Beat, a bone-chilling connection between the confessed gunman of the Stoneman Douglas massacre and a teen accused of sending these threats on social media.
Plus, doing everything they can to stop beach erosion, how some homeowners are now facing legal problems for trying to save their beach.
And the search for a pet killer who murdered a man's dog in his own home. Open during construction. That's the big message businesses and the city of Cape Coral want you to hear as the construction continues on the 47th Streetscape project, even though you see street blocks like these.
But a new round of road work brings more obstacles to reaching your final destination, as these images from the Week News drone shows you right here. And take a look at this map. Beginning Monday morning, a new detour goes into place at the intersection of Southeast 47th Terrace and Southeast 8th Court. The Night Beat's Oliver Resin joins us live in Cape Coral with more. Oliver.
Well, John Carlos, business owners we talked to tonight say all of the road work is already hurting their profit margin.
Now, Oliver, is the city doing anything to help these businesses?
Yeah, John, project officials tell us they're trying to minimize the impact on businesses by working just a few blocks at a time. Where we are at the intersection of 47th Terrace and 8th Court, they say should only be closed for just a few weeks for the construction. All of the businesses here will remain open throughout. Live on the Night Beat, Oliver Redston, Wink News now.
Well, thank you, Oliver. And later, bar hours become a reality in Cape Coral tonight. The new ordinance goes into effect at midnight. However, no bar owners applied for the special permit to stay open until 3 in the morning. City Council voted recently to let downtown bars stay open until 3 on Friday and Saturday nights, but not everyone is interested in the extended hours.
I think it's nice for like some of our hourly employees who get off work around maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. They have a little more options of what they can do. Hopefully it's not to extend the hours for people that have been out since about 6 or 7 o'clock.
It's a one-year trial. The Cape tried a 4 a.m. closing time in 2016, but voted not to extend that trial run.
Studio, Chris Grisby, Wink News now.
Well, thank you, Chris. And new tonight, a Parkland sophomore is facing misdemeanor charges after he made threats on Snapchat. Now take a look. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas student posted these images of a bullet and another photo showing what appears to be a handgun tucked into his waistband, both with threatening captions. Wink News reporter Nicole Insalta shows us the frightening connection the student has to the confessed gunman of the Parkland massacre.
The posting came from a Stoneman Douglas 10th grader. Anyone know Josh at Stoneman Douglas? He's light-skinned, wears Gucci glasses and jeans that look like a 4-year-old drew on him. Hit me up. He then posted this picture with a gun tucked in his waistband. Catch me out here, expletive.
The boy was arrested last week and he was Baker acted. Now, the family of the young man mentioned in the post, Josh, understandably shaken up. They have since hired a Fort Lauderdale attorney named Brad Cohen.
Cohen told 7 News the boy who posted those Snapchats plays the violent video game called Fortnite. 7 News told it's the same game Nicholas Cruz played, and the 10th grader called himself Nick Cruz on his video game profile. Police arrested the 10th grader, who is now facing a misdemeanor charge of making threats on social media.
The family also had to surrender all firearms.
The suspect has undergone a psychiatric evaluation. It's unclear whether that student will return to Stoneman Douglas High School. And new tonight, authorities say 29-year-old Jeffrey Tomasulo is now a former teacher at Stewart Middle School after a 13-year-old told investigators he forced her to perform sexual acts on him at least 5 times. At first, Tomasulo denied it, but then confessed. Right now, he is held on a $250,000 bond.
When we have a case like this that's so egregious that an adult teacher in a custodial situation involves himself or herself in any kind of sexual behavior like this, it's as egregious an offense as we can ever investigate.
Investigators do believe there could be other victims. And caught on camera, watch as burglars start a shootout in the middle of someone's home. People broke into a home in Riverview in Hillsborough County. They exchanged gunfire with the people who lived there, who are suspected drug dealers themselves. Surveillance video captured the whole incident. As you see there, no one got hurt. Deputies later found 1,200 grams of marijuana, several guns, and cash.
A call for justice and unity. Rallies erupt in California over a controversial police shooting. Why extra police are on scene at the NBA game.
And sand thieves on the loose. Homeowners are accused of stealing sand from Florida beaches. Why they say it's necessary to protect their property. We're ready to take a trip back to 1978. How many Dallas fans do we have out there? Well, 40 years ago on Monday, the show hit the airwaves and it ran for 14 seasons. 1,300 fans from 40 states and more than 30 countries came to Dallas to celebrate the anniversary. Winding through the corrals to take pictures with the stars of the show. They also toured South Fork Ranch, where the show's exterior shots were filmed.
It's just because we've watched them on telly for all those years, and it's going to be such a surreal moment.
It was the cast. It was just magical casting, and the chemistry was beyond.
There's also a museum at South Fork which highlights the gun that shot JR. The scene became one of the most talked about cliffhangers in TV history.
All new, fighting beach erosion by any means necessary. The Wink News drone captured these images of Sanibel just this past week. They show how the sand is disappearing. People who live on the island tell us in some places the drop-off is around 3 feet. In November, Charlotte County approved a $21.3 million project to fix Minnesota Key. Beach erosion in the area was so bad, homes were teetering on cliffs.
And the need for sand isn't just a problem in Southwest Florida. This video shows how some homeowners in St. Johns County are taking matters into their own hands. Wink News reporter Danielle Avidable explains.
Fresh sand dunes are now behind these 4 Ponte Vedra homes, and you could see fresh tracks in the sand left behind by heavy equipment. This is video given to us by a neighbor. It shows bulldozers pushing sand to their property from another part of the beach. We reached out to Florida Department of Environmental Protection and was told that these homeowners are now under investigation. These are the warning letters the 4 homeowners were given from the state. It says that evidence shows sand was pushed to create a small frontal dune at the base of an eroded one, and violations of state statutes may result in liability for damages and restoration and civil penalties. According to DEP, homeowners must have a permit to do this, and it must abide by the state's environmental laws. We found that one of the homes in question belongs to the CEO of United Airlines. We went to their home as well as the 3 others, but no one was home.
I think they should be investigated.
Dave Dierdrich tells me he doesn't think this was fair for the homeowners to do.
The thought of they can just go take it, I'm not sure where they took it from, but wherever they took it from, they thought they were able to do that.
The homeowners have 15 days from when the warning letters were given to reach out to DEP to set up a meeting.
Meanwhile, here in Southwest Florida, the city of Sanibel announced earlier this week it's working with a coastal engineering firm to design and permit a job that would dump more sand on beaches.
Bringing Easter.
A couple is accused of forcing a child to drink water from a disgusting source. What prompted an investigation into her home line?
But first, shocking new video from the moments before a deadly police shooting. We'll warn you, some of it's tough to watch. That's next on the Night Beat.
And shocking new video of a police-involved shooting in 2016. The Baton Rouge Police Department released a video leading up to Alton Sterling's death. Now, we want to warn you that some of these images could upset some. The images released give a clear account of what happened that night. Wink News reporter Kaylee Hartlung walks us through the deadly confrontation.
Graphic and disturbing new video.
What I did? I'm saying what I did. So move on, shoot your put your hands on the car.
Showing the controversial shooting death of Alton Sterling in July 2016. The Baton Rouge Chief of Police announcing Officer Blaine Salamone, who shot Sterling 6 times during a struggle with him, will be fired over his actions.
A violation of command of temper has been sustained. Officer Blaine Salamone has been terminated from the Baton Rouge Police Department effective today.
This week, Salamone refused to answer any questions during a disciplinary hearing, the chief said, while Howie Lake, the other officer involved, answered them all. Lake, who the chief said made mistakes but controlled his temper during the encounter, was given a 3-day unpaid suspension.
2 different perspectives, and one officer did not follow the tactics, training, professionalism, and organizational standards.
The police chief making it clear their administrative investigation was separate from the federal criminal charges both officers were already cleared of. The police department released 4 videos from the night of the shooting, including this surveillance footage from the Triple S convenience store. That's Sterling at the front of the store, sitting at a table where he's selling CDs. Minutes into the tape, he's seen conducting a transaction with an unidentified man. Here he removes what appears to be a gun from his front pocket, followed by money from the same pocket. Within seconds, Sterling is seen jokingly making a shooting motion towards the man. That night, police were initially called to the Triple S convenience store, responding to a 911 call from a witness who saw a man with a gun. Watch closely as things escalate quickly. From Salamoni's perspective, you can see a brief struggle. Then his gun is trained on Sterling's head.
Don't you move, I'm gonna shoot you in your head, you hear me? Don't you move! All right, hold up, man, you hurt my arm.
Sterling then was pinned to the ground and tased twice.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Pop him again, Howie!
Before being fatally shot. Previously released cell phone videos recorded by bystanders show at this point in the encounter, Salamoni believed Sterling was armed. A gun was recovered from Sterling's body. But the federal and state investigations determined the officer's actions were reasonable and couldn't prove that Sterling wasn't reaching for a gun.
Marching in support of firearms. Coming up on the Wink News Nightbeat, why some students say they're fighting back against the push for stronger gun laws in Florida.
But first, demanding justice, a man says he won't rest until he finds a person who killed his dog in his own home.
Now, from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News at 10.
A man loses his dog after it was poisoned not once but twice. This is Annabelle. The bag of wet food that caused her to go into renal failure and seizures before her death was placed in her very own backyard. Wink News reporter Sarah Rosario speaks to her heartbroken owner who's demanding justice.
It's horrible, you know. She's my baby. That's my kid. I don't have kids. I come home every day from work and she crawls on the couch and cuddles with me and sleeps in my bed. You know, she's just my baby. I lost a piece of my heart.
Memories Robert McCann can't get back after he says his dog Annabelle was poisoned by someone not once, but twice. In both cases, he says whoever it was left a note on his door.
Saw the note, so I came out here and started looking through the yard, and right about here was a bag of wet dog food, just torn up, and she ate it.
McCann says he immediately called police. According to this police report, the note left in the first incident read, "Shut your expletive dog up or we will. It barked nonstop." The note for the most recent incident says, "Your dog has barked nonstop for 2 nights straight. Shut him up. Your neighbors are tired of it. If you can't keep him in, get rid of him. We're tired of it." According to vet records, Annabelle was poisoned by Tylenol in the first incident. But in this latest case, it only lists an unidentified toxin, sending Annabelle's body into renal failure and causing seizures. 3 days later, she died. Did you go around and talk to neighbors and say, who left this note on my door?
Oh yeah, I've been around to all my neighbors.
I'm shocked. Like, that's devastating.
McCann thinks whoever it was threw the bag of dog food over the fence.
I've been doing a walk around my backyard because I've heard that they're throwing the poisoned food over the fences.
While police are investigating, they say it'll be very difficult to prove without security cameras and say there's not much else they can do. But Robert hopes to get justice for his Annabelle soon.
Well, we want them caught. We want them to leave the neighborhood.
And new right now, demanding domestic abuse convicts surrender all their guns. New York lawmakers just passed a bill that would make that reality. Governor Andrew Cuomo said previously domestic abusers in the state only had to give up their handguns and could keep all other firearms. Supporters of the measure say its passage allows a glaring loophole to be filled. And new tonight, a couple is facing aggravated child neglect charges after a doctor said they tortured the man's 9-year-old daughter. The 4th grader lived with her father, Jesse Piot, and her stepmother, Trish Piot, as well as stepbrother and sister. Tennessee authorities started investigating in January after the girl stole food from a teacher at school. That's when the girl started to reveal details of her life, saying she slept in a bathtub, ate in the bathroom, and drank toilet water. A neighbor who didn't want to be identified said the parents treated her differently from the other children.
Just when they moved in, shortly after, our kids became friends with theirs, but the youngest sibling, she never really came over. She was always doing yard work. She was always out in the yard, sometimes till late at night.
Police noticed the thin girl was wearing ill-fitting clothes and had a shaven spot on her head. The child said Trish Piot did it after she got mad. Jesse Piot told investigators the child had an undiagnosed medical condition and the family sought help. And the president is withholding money from Syria. The State Department confirms President Trump holding on to more than $200 million in recovery funds. The hold isn't necessarily permanent. Sources say the president wants more info on how the money is being used. The funding is slated for basic infrastructure projects to restore power, water, and roads. Officials say it will be discussed this week. And U.S. warships and fighter jets are soaring over the Atlantic, preparing for the annual war games with South Korea. The drills, which usually provoke fury from North Korea, will go ahead this year starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, diplomats are trying to organize a summit between the two Koreas, as well as the historic meeting between President Donald Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And breaking right now, live images from Sacramento. This is a visual for Stephon Clark, the father of two, gunned down by police officers as they pursued a vandalism suspect because they thought Clark was armed. It was later found out that Clark only had a cell phone with him. An autopsy also found out that he was shot 7 times in the back. And new tonight, helping grieving families heal from devastating losses. ICU nurses are giving the families of terminally ill patients a unique keepsake, their loved one's heartbeat. Using leftover hospital supplies, the nurses recorded the patient's heartbeat on pieces of paper and put them in bottles.
We ask for their hands and we put the heartbeat in their hand and we say, we want you to have this forever.
That was wonderful.
Nurses at the Boston Hospital started making the mementos 8 years ago for all the patients whose lives they couldn't save. And take a look at this. It may look like a floaty, but it's not. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office tweeted out a photo of an 11-foot alligator in a pool Friday night. They say it broke through the screen porch and headed into the water. An animal trapper eventually pulled it out. And speaking of amazing animal sightings, Gaston and I made some new friends today as we were walking this morning. A dolphin came up to greet us. We actually saw, I think, 3 in total. And this is actually one of the first times Gaston, you can see right there, has seen a dolphin, and he was pretty mesmerized. He didn't bark at it.
No.
He just, you know, perked up and looked.
Gazed on. It's like, what is that, Dad? And that's in the Caloosahatchee, right?
That's right, in the Caloosahatchee. It's pretty amazing. And this is actually the second time I've seen it. Gaston didn't see it, but he saw one today, and he was pretty excited about it.
So they're friends now.
They are. They're best friends for life. Biffles, I guess.
Biffles. BFFs. Biffles. That's new. I always learn these weird things.
Almost like bifolds, but yeah,
but
like
biffles.
Hey, tomorrow's forecast.
Easter Sunday, just hours away at this point. We
Yeah.
got a little rain today. Are we seeing that tomorrow?
We will have some rain showers back in your afternoon, but we start dry and even potentially mostly sunny in a few areas for your Easter Sunday morning. We do need some more rain, and we will see a few more showers tomorrow afternoon and evening. 87 for your Monday, 88 for Tuesday, back at 87 for your Wednesday. So we are staying on the mild side all week long. Another small rain chance comes our way Friday and Saturday.
All right. Well, happy Easter, everyone, tomorrow. Hopefully you have a great day.
And thanks for watching. More news. Make the switch over to Wink News at 11 on Wink TV. There's Gaston.